We get started. Okay, so I call this Inland Wetland Commission special meeting of April 17th to order at about 7:02. Let's start with introduction of members. Let's start on the TV there. Laura, you want to go ahead?
Laura Ferguson, Commissioner.
Yep. Okay, Greg.
Greg Johnston, Vice Chair.
There you go. Pat Parafor, Chair.
Danielle Monroe, I think I'm a commissioner tonight.
Yes.
No.
Oh, well,
Oh, not yet. Alternate.
Kevin Seaman, Commissioner.
there you go. All right.
Dave McCollum in the Wetlands Agent.
Mary Churchill, Recording Secretary.
And Jay, do you want to introduce yourself?
James DeMayo, Town Engineer.
Nico, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello everybody. Nicholas Jordan, Commission Member. Good evening.
Evening. All right, so first order of business. Dave, help me with this. Do I have to seat anyone?
Well, you have 5 full members in attendance, so you
So
do
we're
not
good.
need to seat any alternate.
Okay,
But I would just like, I think it's worth clarifying for any commissioners that did not attend any portions of the public hearings.
Yep.
That they just clarify that they reviewed all the recordings and the meeting minutes for the record, so. I don't think that applies to any of you. I think everybody, including you, were you here for the last meeting, Laura?
No, I wasn't. I got stuck at work late.
Okay, did you watch the recording for last night's meeting? Or
Yeah.
for the meeting on March 28th?
3:26.
Yeah,
okay.
When would that have been?
Three-
No,
three-
we gotta make sure we get it for the, right, the March 27th regular meeting, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, and you
Perfect.
read the, the meeting minutes wouldn't be,
They were there.
oh, that's right, they were sent to you guys, and you read the minutes?
Yep.
Okay, very good.
Good. All right, so first order of business, new business first. Any discussion on the meeting minutes from 3/27? Okay, any changes? Okay,
For me.
any motions? Okay, make a motion that we accept the minutes from 3/27 as written.
A second?
Okay, all those in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Any abstains? Okay, Laura, do you have to abstain because you weren't here? I think.
okay.
Yes,
Perfect.
that's correct.
So we got one abstention. Thank you, man.
Good catch, man.
Okay, all right, old business, 17 Whitney Road. I believe we were at the point we had asked you to write up. Nope, we weren't at that point. We were at the point of discussion about approval or denial of the permit. That's correct.
So now you are in your deliberation phase.
Okay.
And I'll clear the air, if you will, just to make sure everybody understands where we are. At your last regular meeting on March 27th, you closed the public hearing. So that means
Yes,
any new information, so that means any information that you've collected, that phase is over and done with. Now you're reviewing your materials and discussing amongst yourselves, deliberating amongst yourselves as to whether or you would approve or deny the application
Okay.
as has been submitted and has been revised.
Okay.
So what I would suggest is each commissioner air out their comments or questions, give everybody ample chance to speak. And then after everyone has gone through their questions or comments,
Okay.
you discuss as a whole.
All right. So Laura, do you have any questions or comments, concerns on 17 Whitney Road? Nope.
You're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Greg?
No, I believe that the applicant has done everything that they needed to do,
Okay,
have been very patient with us, and that we should make a decision tonight.
all right. Only concern I have, I want to make sure, and I think it's on the plan, I think he called it a berm separator. Is on there?
They
You talk about the
oil
water
Yeah,
separator.
he's not using a vortex, he's using some
Right.
other mechanical
I believe the device that has been referred to is called a baffle.
baffle. Yes, the baffle, not.
And that was added to the last revision.
Yes.
The last
Last
revised
meeting,
set of the
yeah.
plans
Yes.
dated March 9th. if I'm correct.
Okay, that would be the only concern I had for that.
Okay,
So, Danielle?
well,
Oh.
Danielle cannot speak or
Oh,
vote.
this is interesting. Sorry. No wonder she was shouting out the window. Nico?
I guess I was wondering about maybe how that baffle works, if you guys feel like, if it.
This is
if
the
it
time,
works for
this
the
is
oil.
the time to
Can you bring up
discuss.
the cross section and we can talk about it with James?
Not a problem.
I'd be curious about that too.
Because I wasn't,
I think it kind of worked. He did explain it, so I understood, like,
Yeah.
like a vortex chamber almost.
All right, bear with me, guys.
No problem.
Okay. Hopefully everybody out in Zoom land can see that. I'm gonna go zoom to the page.
it shows the cross section.
So. And James, feel free to help me out here.
Page 9.
Thank you.
Well, where would it be there on that big map?
I'll show you on page 9 once we get there. Okay, so it's on the top center of the 4x4 detention gallery detail.
So guide my cursor here.
I think it's below.
Next page up.
Oh,
Oh,
there's
there it
cross
is.
section.
So
Oh.
top center,
That,
right
This
there.
right here?
yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
That's a gallery.
Do I have it right?
yep, that's where it's called out. Wait a minute. Is the detail that I had? Hold on. I just want to make sure that we're looking at the same details now. 'Cause I thought I saw.
We're looking at March 9th, James.
Okay, so if you look in the middle on the right hand side to the text, go to the text to the right. Yep. Oh, down. Okay, so it says 12-inch SDR35 PVC outlet control pipe with an invert of 364.9. That pipe is going out of the manhole and the system. The text underneath it describes provide a T at the inlet to act as baffle and extend to the bottom of vertical section 3 inches below the invert of the outlet pipe and to the top of the gallery in the 32-inch manhole. So how that's going to work is the pipe coming out of the system will be here, and this is the T. Now, what's going to end up happening is as you all know, oils will float on water. So as water rises, it's going to come up and come past that T. So the only oils that will ever get trapped and sent out of the outlet pipe are just in that 12-inch diameter. So very minimal at that point. And it's a good way to reduce it. Now, all the other oils are going to be traveling up the side of that T and will stay there. So it prevents all the oils from coming out except for that initial surge up, which it will allow that diameter of the pipe, but that is very, very minimal. So that's essentially how that works. I hope that explains it.
And then when the water goes back down, recedes.
It's gonna recede all the way down. It's not just gonna recede down and then kind of come back up the pipe. So that's the thing, is the only time that the oils will ever come up like through that outlet pipe is as the water comes up. When the water recedes down, now as soon as the water gets below that bottom of the T, it's also 3 inches below the outlet of the pipe. So it's already below the outlet pipe, which means now at that point, all that water is infiltrating into the ground, which is the intent of the infiltration system. So how this functions is it prevents it from leaving the system.
It doesn't get flushed out at the next storm coming out of the pipe anyway.
Again, it can only come out that 12-inch diameter as it comes up. That's it. So if you had a little, like, let's say you had a 5-gallon gas can and
Right.
all that gas went in there, it would probably take you years and years of storms for that to actually ever come out, because it's diluting one, and then it's only a 12-inch diameter that's allowed to come up. because that oil sheen is only going to be like wafer thin, so it's not a lot.
James,
This is-
it just as to kind of help expedite this conversation. Would an annual cleaning of this catch basin mitigate any potential risk for that circumstance to occur?
Yeah, so thank you, Dave. That is a good point. So now what they do provide underneath all of these structures in terms of catch basins and everything else is a sump. So as that water comes down, those oils are going to end up falling into that sump along with the particulates and the debris. Now, part of the requirements that we look at is they need to provide an annual maintenance schedule. So essentially the property owner is required to clean these out, I believe twice a year is what's on the schedule, spring and fall. So it does get cleaned as well.
Okay. James, are these are vortex chambers, and I use that because that's the only one I'm familiar with. Are these as good as vortex chambers, or this is the cheap way out of not getting a vortex chamber, not as good?
So the benefit to the vortex chamber is what it does is it will capture all of those oils inside that chamber. And the only way for it to leave is for it to get pumped out. Period. Whereas these are not, you know, a little bit more will come out of it. But this is still, you know, a pretty standard practice, I will say.
So in this application, would it be better to have a vortex chamber in there than this?
With this application, I would say no. If there was a much heavier use or concern for the oils, then I would say yes.
Okay,
But due to the number of units and the fact that it's a residential lot, I would say that this would be sufficient.
Right.
If it's like a big commercial or industrial where there's manufacturing and tendencies for a lot of cleaning of equipment, or, you know, at that point, that'd be a whole nother animal.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no, so I would just say that for the record that I've attended all the meetings, the site walks, I've read and reviewed all the material from all parties concerned. And I have numerous concerns about the modification to the previous approval, this application, all of which I've discussed on public record
Okay,
here. And some of them were addressed by the engineer, some of them were not, to varying degrees. So I have nothing formal at this point, but that's.
no, is there anything like to review more, or to get your comfort level either against or for, or anything that you feel needs?
I don't want to beat a dead horse. No, I think
Okay,
we're good.
all right,
I would like to say my concerns kind of
Yeah.
mirror Nico's.
okay,
But that being said, everything that we've asked for them, that it's within our jurisdiction to require, they've been more than accommodating to do so. And the other things, and as explained to us, are kind of outside our realm of rights and abilities from this standpoint. So I don't have anything further
okay.
on it, and I've asked a lot of questions as we proceeded through it, so that there's nothing more I can learn that can,
So you want to wear another?
yeah.
Okay. Dave, you got any?
I would
words of
just,
wisdom?
I think it's worth saying that if there was any information between James and I that we felt that you would need to render a decision, we would make it a point to let you know what that is. And that's the intent of James's review comments, that's the intent of my review comments. And furthermore, if there were any outstanding items that we felt that you didn't have, we would let you know tonight what that was.
Yeah.
But you have been given reports from the applicant's wetland scientist. You've had a few revisions of the site plans. Mind you, this is just a modification, as Nico says, for previous approval. And this was admitted into the record at the last meeting, I don't think we had time to go over it. It's not new information per se, but it's worth you guys looking at, and it's in the Google Drive for the record. And it was in the record for the last meeting. Let me see if I can find it here now. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to.
Is it the comparison, Dave?
I'm sorry? That's correct. You know exactly where I'm going.
Yep, I got it open.
Describe what you're looking for. Comparison from the previous.
I'm gonna put it up on the screen and then I'm gonna have it show it amongst all of you here.
There you go. Got you covered, Dave.
Look at that, every now and then. Thank you, James.
I was like, wow, how did this happen?
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Okay.
So you guys had asked at some phase in the process to get a lay of the land as to what had been approved before and what was currently before the commission with this proposed modification. James, in his seemingly infinite capabilities with AutoCAD, overlaid the previous application that you guys approved.
Right.
And compared it to the CAD file or the site plans that were submitted by Mr. Mizuko, the latest revision, and overlaid the two. So I'll give you a kind of a synopsis of what's what. The building that's here, if you can kind of correlate to where I'm pointing on the screen, and let me readmit Laura so she can make sure we're paying attention to what we're talking about here. Okay. I'm gonna assume she's back in.
She is
Okay, thanks.
connecting to all of you.
Okay. Laura, give me a thumbs up when you can hear me. Okay, thank you. All right. And just keep an eye on it, Mary, would you mind? Thanks. So James, if you can just follow with my cursor where I'm pointing to. So this right here, this area is the footprint of the building you guys approved. This here hatched in the blue is the building that they're looking to construct with the modification with the.
Make it bigger.
Correct. They would be expanding the building in this direction. The same goes with the parking area. The original parking area is shown here in black.
Yep.
The new one is here in green. The footprint, comparatively speaking, for what's in the regulated upland review area is roughly the same. They are showing a decrease in area here furthest out on this side of the building, if you guys can follow along there. And then going eastward on the property, the area for your the outlet for the stormwater management system and the limit of disturbance associated with that is essentially the same.
Yep.
So they're not going any closer to the wetlands. They're not making this any larger. They're not making it any smaller. They modified a couple elements in it, which is what James went over with the baffle. But apart from that, the principle is essentially the same. So I thought it was worth you guys being able to correlate and make it kind of an apples to apples comparison, if you will. Happy to answer any questions. And of course, you can bounce some to James too if you need, all right?
Now, all my questions have been addressed.
Okay.
That's all you're asking right now, right?
What's that?
You're not asking for a decision right now.
We,
You're asking-
that'll be the next step after all your questions, concerns, comments have been voiced.
This is discussion, so if you have things you want to talk about.
Yeah, now's the time
Now's the
to,
time to go.
Well, like,
Yeah.
talk about like what, like. I'm
so here's the thing, I can
trying to
understand
convince you guys
not-
of how I feel, but you're not.
No,
not building on this site because
You
it's.
vote how you want.
Right, no, you definitely vote how you want, that's why we have, not just one person on the committee. I understand fully not wanting to build on this site because it's close to a wetlands, okay? The question I have is the applicant doing everything he can and is achieving, not affecting those wetlands? You know, depending on how I feel if they build on or not, that's irrelevant. You know, it's gotta be, is in my opinion, is this gonna like Dave showed those guidelines before, is this gonna adversely affect it? adversely impact the wetlands. That's what I'm looking at. Okay. Again, I would love to see, half of downtown as forest, but again, the guideline of the wetlands is the application in front of you, how it affects the wetland spaces, and that's how I look at it. So, and I'll be honest, I like vortex chambers, always have. They're, to me, I'm used to them, I'm comfortable with them. I'm going by James though, he's more expert at it. Obviously, I don't do it for a living. James knows more about it. And if he's telling me that this, and I keep calling it baffle, works, if the baffle works and he's comfortable for it for this size of a building, then I'm comfortable with it because he's more knowledgeable than I am on it. And I just became knowledgeable of vortex because we used them for years in other applications, so, but again, if you have other concerns, then there's nothing here that says you have to vote for it or against it. You have to vote how you feel it goes to the guidelines as laid out in the book.
We've all disagreed on things in the
Right.
past. It
Yeah,
doesn't-
it never has to be unanimous.
That's what
It
it
could
is,
be
so,
one
yeah.
way or another.
Right.
Absolutely.
No, I mean, I have my reasons. It has to do with the considerations for decision. I weighed them all out and
That's fine. Absolutely.
some boxes are checked somewhere. And
Nope.
for me, it's basically coming down to like majority of that.
Okay. All right. Is there anything that needs to be voiced or?
If there was one thing I would add, it would be if you had any conditions,
Mhm.
depending on which way the commission wants to render their decision, I would air them now. So that way, when I have a draft
Right.
of your
Right.
decision for the next meeting, I can have those already incorporated.
Right.
And the language ready for
I
your
think
review.
with James mentioning that there was a maintenance schedule, that helps out a lot too, because that would have been something we would have asked for. It's already in place.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's what's
That was
he said it's in place. It's in place already. So my question is, and I remember years ago, it's like, can't use fertilizer, certain fertilizer on it. Who monitors that? Like, all right, this has to be clean like every 6 months. Okay. If it goes 8 months, is a red flag going off that, the first selectman's office say, hey, they didn't check, how does it not fall through the filters?
Well, that's where, and correct me if I'm wrong, James. If the commission feels so strongly that these maintenance upkeep operations are conducted, you can get something. I don't think it would be beyond reason for the commission to get something from the applicant that says, hey, we went out.
Who's the get? Who gets it?
What do you mean who gets it?
We get
Gets
it.
it? We get it.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen a report come back from any of the maintenance programs that we said, all right, this has to be checked every 6 months. Or did it go to the wetland department, they see it and check, all right, we get,
No.
like, you have a list every 6 months.
It would get sent to the land use office.
Okay, that's what I'm
And
asking.
it would be to your attention,
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
all right,
And then the commission at their next regular meeting would review it to verify that what that says
Right.
is in compliance with what you approved.
and I think there's a point I'm getting to now, okay, so we set this, and this is a general question. We set this every 6 months, it has to be inspected. Good faith, I'm sure they will do it, but 5 years from now, none of us on the committee, or 10 years, 15, how do you know this is getting done?
Right, so this
That's what I
is,
mean, how do you police it?
this is, right. The idea with conditions is if you're gonna have a condition where an active function is involved,
Right.
you're not having it go on in perpetuity. You
Okay.
you want to have some reasonable degree of confidence
Right.
that the way something is functioning,
Exactly.
usually if you see a flaw
Okay.
or a defect in how something operates, it gets caught right away in the first year or two of its operation.
Okay.
Anything after that, you're.
So we should put a condition on that goes, let's say, for 2 years, every 6 months, and if there's any indication it's not functioning properly, it has to be addressed.
That's correct. I think that would be a very reasonable condition for this commission.
Can I quickly read the section 4.5 of our regulations, which is about the decision process and permitting.
Yeah.
Which is what we're asking. So it just says any reasonable measures. Okay, the commissioner is duly authorized agent acting in accordance with section 4.4, grant the application is filed, we can grant the application is filed.
What section are you reading again?
Section 4.5,
4.5, what number?
1.
Okay, got it, thank you. Let
So
me
we
pull
can
that
either
up, sorry.
granted under terms, conditions, limitations, or modifications of the regulated activity, or we can deny the application. The such terms may include any reasonable measures which would mitigate the impacts of the regulated activity and which would prevent or minimize pollution or other environmental damage, maintain or enhance existing environmental quality, or in the following order of priority, restore, enhance, and create productive wetland or watercourse resources. And then subsection B of that is also, we can add restrictions to the time of year, I guess, in which the regulated activity can be conducted with construction. So.
I don't know whether if it's within a realm as well. I know it was discussed at either the last meeting, I believe the meeting before. But in terms of the lighting applications on it, and I know, and I believe that they agreed to it, but I don't know if it was put anywhere in writing that there's no nighttime light emitted directly into the wetland. Like, because in looking at this lot, that's a very reasonable request as well, because where the parking ends, you can have lighting facing all parking spaces for safety reasons while not impacting the
The only
wetland.
lighting that would face the wetlands in the night would be cars pulling in briefly.
Well, I'm not, I mean, like.
The
the
photograph
permit-
shows zero.
It's all they had a lumen study.
0 lumens all,
They
yeah,
had lumen study, they proposed it to us and it followed.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to, okay,
for their
Yeah,
still,
yeah,
their
yeah.
standard, their built-in.
Yeah.
lighting.
they're building lighting, that's fine.
Dave, can you pull that map?
I certainly can.
Yeah.
And my question was the headlights, which then they didn't really
So,
properly
okay,
address that. in my
now-
opinion.
And
But you might disagree.
Well,
Because they had the dumpster there. and
Okay,
it's
no,
like,
but let's talk about that then.
but whatever.
Do you feel, all right, the dumpster's there, that's blocking the headlights? If not, do you want a
I think,
hedge or?
I think it would be very, very simple.
let
and
me
easy to put it
propose
to.
this question.
Evergreen.
So cars pulling down that road with their headlights right into the wetlands, is that any different?
What road? This
The
road?
road that it's
Oh,
on.
wait.
Oh, coming down.
Yeah,
this
so
is
it
the
comes
wetland.
in this way,
Coming down,
and then it
Whitney.
angles hard.
So are we gonna
So
reroute
any-
the road to avoid that as well?
It's
I
actually
mean, I see your
good,
point,
like,
but this is the
yeah.
new construction. This is like what we're.
I
we
get
have to
it, I
deal with.
get it, but
I don't think-
I don't get it, we
Okay.
agree to disagree.
Cool.
All right,
All right, so if you're looking at this, the way the cars are pulling in, that dark area at the end there, that's the dumpster, correct?
There's a hedge and
Okay.
dumpster.
Yeah.
this is the dump, where my cursor
It's a
is
dumpster.
the
So-
location of the dumpster pad
Yeah.
enclosure.
So any cars pulling in to those parking spots, it's gonna be blocked by that dumpster, and my assumption is there's a fence around that dumpster or something to keep it.
It's an
clean for-
enclosure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's enclosed. Okay,
I guess.
so I don't see any, I mean, possibly where I'm gonna say that the handicap spot right there would be the only place I would say upon turning that the headlights would hit, but I don't see that as being a major.
To the left and right of the dumpster.
To the left and right. I don't see that myself being a major concern. I don't know if you could put anything there because of a handicap
And there's
anyway.
You're gonna get more
also
light source off
yeah.
the road anyways.
a little further to
Yeah.
the right is a berm.
Right, I'm not saying it's far enough, if it was like a foot from it, I would agree, let's put a hedge there or something, or ask for a hedge, but I'm not, because the dumpster's there, I'm not seeing a need for it. You may, and then you could ask,
I was just trying to imagine like you guys were like where the lights are actually gonna go and like where that straight line,
Yep.
ends up.
well, the
On
reason
either
I
side
asked
of
to
the
pull
dumpster
this
pad.
up, you can see it's like zeros all the way across there.
Right,
That has to
so,
do with the stand lighting, the
Yes,
construction,
right, so you got no lights actually, coming out.
which
there.
is
Right.
good.
Right,
No, it was just the headlights and then something I read and it just says like that like, it sounds stupid sometimes, but it's like a frog can be
No, it's
paralyzed
up
for
to- that's what we're
hours,
here
like
for.
if it gets shot in the face.
again, it's a
like,
commission,
okay.
if the commission would want some type of hedge there or something, that, just because I'm okay without, it doesn't mean you guys don't,
Legally can't be.
can I address the report that Mr. Johnson made or that, I'm sorry, not Mr. Jordan submitted. So the excerpts from your report I put in for the record.
Yep.
Because they were submitted at the last meeting, and so they had to be added in.
Yep.
Everything from that report is wonderful. There's a lot of knowledge in that report. It's excellent information. Is it relevant to this application? It's not so much a but, has the applicant brought forth information that makes what that document says pertinent? And I would say it goes back to what I've been repeating now, I think for the third time, whether or not this property has supports the function of obligate species. If you have a species where placing headlights towards those wetlands would affect them, the applicant would have to report that. And in their functions and values assessment, they did not indicate that there were any obligate species where they would have any sensitivities to light. If they did, and if they didn't address it,
Right.
I would be like, hey, guys, this is an outstanding condition. You know, you gotta discuss this and see how important it is to you.
You also gotta look at the site plan itself. If that building was more to, I'm gonna say the left, I don't know what direction that is, but to the left, and the parking was all to the right, we'd be talking a whole different, hedges and wall, but I think, again, you get the engineers who designed this to be the most effective way, not just for the building, but for the wetlands, for the parking, all that, kind of combine them. And by doing that, they've cut down any impact to the wetlands just with that buffer there. Now, I'm always I like to have some type of buffer between the two, but I mean, this one application, you got a little ways to get to the wetlands, that area there.
That flat area.
Yeah, that flat area. So I don't think there's any need for it at this point.
Mhm.
And you got the buffer. I don't see too many people trying to crawl through those trees into the swamp. So,
I just think they may have maybe misunderstood what I was saying. 'Cause
Okay.
Remember Mr.
Musical.
McManus.
McManus?
yes,
Yeah, he was kind of assuming, I think at one point, or interpreting what I said as being like, oh, the wetland is really far away and then there's nobody, it's a really big wetland, so the
Yep.
light's not gonna go through, and which was obviously not what I was getting at. I wasn't
Right.
talking about the effect of headlights on an opposing building across the wetland to people. I was talking about the effects of the actual lighting into the, ecology of the wetland.
Right.
But I don't want to harp too much on that. That's just one minor thing.
No, you're right.
I'm just a little dismissive of that, even though it's just a simple thing. Maybe you're saying that they truly believe that's not necessary, so I respect
unless you
that.
feel it, like I said, just because I feel it, doesn't mean if you guys
Okay.
feel it.
No, I'm much more concerned about
Okay.
the increased pollution.
Like the
Okay.
sound pollution that's gonna go into
All
the,
right.
and the impaired status of the Still River, which
Okay.
needs amelioration,
Okay.
And it's just this, classified impaired by the Connecticut State DEP as an impaired, critically impaired watershed.
Mhm.
Not suitable for fish and wildlife, aquatic or
Right.
recreation.
So again,
I'm quoting, this is. what-
well, here's the question,
There's a reason.
here's the way I look at it, Nico, again. No matter what the condition of the wetlands there, will this building or this site, the way it's proposed, negatively affect that? If it improves it, great.
I think
but-
so.
Okay,
Not
that's
to
how you have to
sorry,
vote.
Because they're building it to maintain status quo. They're basically basing his functions of value assessment
Yeah.
on, literally
Status quo.
says it's on what the quality of and the current functions are.
Right.
We can't, so, but the fact is, they are that. If it is degraded, it's degraded because of urbanization and overdevelopment. He
Okay.
mentions the percentage,
Right.
30% of the watershed
Right.
is urbanized of the Still River. That doesn't mean that it's okay to continue that.
No, but
That's not okay
No,
because our
but what
we
we have to
can't-
look at is it negatively affecting that situation
Right.
that already
we can't ask
exists.
them.
negatively.
We cannot ask them to make it better.
Yes, we can. We are charged to do so. Restore, enhance,
no.
and create
But they're not
productive
ask
wetland
them
and
to-
watercourse resources.
But so here's the thing, if they were in the wetlands or doing something to the wetlands, absolutely, but they're not. So let me ask you. I don't, and again, this way I believe, from the testimony we've been giving and our experts and all, I don't see any pollutants going into the wetlands that would harm it. There's no way, in my opinion, there's nothing else that can be done to improve the water quality going in there.
A much smaller development, a feasible prudent development of two, maybe
Okay.
1 or 2 family homes
All right,
on this site
but,
would do the trick.
okay, let's just say, for argument's sake, let's say they were gonna build a 1-bedroom home on here, okay? Would that water quality be better coming out? I don't believe it will. It's the same, because of what they have designed here, it would be the same water quality, in my opinion, going into the wetlands as what's designed here now. That's my own feeling based on the testimony that's been given.
That quantity doesn't matter, so the quality of the treated water would be the same.
The quantity is the same amount going, they have to have the same amount of water leaving this property as prior to construction.
Pre-develop, right.
So the amount of water is the same. So one family or, you know, I don't know, 30 family, it's still gotta be the same amount. My question is, all right, so first question is, are you gonna create like more problem downstream in the wetlands or anything like that by having more water go up? No, you're meeting the statute that it has to be the same amount. Okay. Now, what's the water quality? You know, if you're coming out of here and you're gonna have oils and everything, yeah, I'm concerned. Okay, because that's worse. I'd be like, no, like if they came and said, you know what, you want a vortex chamber? We're not giving you one because we don't feel we need it, you know, or what they're using. I would be of a different opinion on this vote. You know, then yes, we have it, and you know, all the experts are telling me the quality of water coming out of that will be just as good or better than it is now. You know, again, if they were putting a oil refinery or something there better be a lot more in there, but I feel, you know, that the quality will not negatively affect the wetlands on this. I wish there was a way we could say, hey, we want to improve the wetlands, so if there was a way we could add something that would improve it, awesome, but I don't think there's anything that this applicant can do to actually improve. Let's say they had a stream running through there and it flooded all the time. Is there a way you could hold that back? You could have that discussion with them if they would, but I don't see anything here that would, again, affect that wetlands negatively. You know, that's how I'm looking at it. You know, again, I'm not, no matter how you feel in the development, you know, and you know what? There's people out there who wish this was 60 units. There's people out there who wish it was a trail.
And we already approved.
So it's got, you have to look at it, you know, this is first of all, is it a viable building lot? Which it is, you know, or I feel it is, you know, so again, our job is to see how it impacts the wetlands. That's how I'm looking at it, you know, and that's, again, my own opinion, you know, as one on the board, you know. So,
Me too. Yeah.
right. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Not at this time.
Okay, so I'm gonna try everyone's minds for or against, and from there, and Dave, keep me honest here. From there, we'll give a direction to Dave to write up or a denial or approval with stipulations for the next meeting. And at the next meeting is when the actual approval or denial would take place. Is that correct?
Right, so, I wanna make sure that
I thought
the
it fit
phrase
pretty
this is correct.
My next meeting is Monday, or,
It is next Monday, that's
okay,
correct.
okay.
Okay.
You as a commission now are coming to a consensus.
Yes,
You are not voting,
correct. That's what I
so,
was trying to be clear.
so it's not a yay or a
Right.
nay, it's Dave, give us something, give us a resolution to approve.
Right.
Dave, give us a resolution to deny. Those are the words I would use at
Okay,
this phase, approve or deny.
Yep.
And then based on if I have a majority for one,
Mhm.
then that's what I'll write.
Okay.
So that's where you guys are,
okay.
it's one or the other.
All right, so I'm gonna start on line. Zoom, on Zoom. Sorry, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, I just want to point out, I don't know if I really heard any conditions from any of the members for Dave.
Okay,
So
Throw that out.
make a motion
No.
for,
You don't need a motion.
or no motion. But it would be
we would ask for,
based on how you would be writing up an acceptance.
You
If
can
it
ask-
was approved by
right,
the people here, with the condition that they, every 6 months sent a report to,
If,
And
if,
wetlands.
if I have a consensus for.
that's why I was going to
approval,
conditions after the
okay,
consensus.
so that would be after.
All
Okay.
right, so,
I just wanted to,
We're
No,
doing that out, yeah,
no.
we're putting the ball before the horse or the cart before the horse by making the conditions in the event of an
Okay.
acceptance, or are we? I'm asking.
I
Yes,
just didn't know if that would
conditions, I
affect
mean,
somebody's
okay.
decision on.
and we
to
could do it
accept or
before.
deny.
So if, let's
Oh,
put it
right.
this way, if the acceptance was to go through, what would the conditions be?
That's what you were asking, right?
Right, I was doing it after, you want to do it before, that's
I
fine.
don't-
Yeah, it's whatever the commission's
Okay.
comfortable with.
It sounds like it's more comfortable being before. so-
Okay. Not a problem. Let's put
Great,
them out
you
there.
were-
So
Okay.
go ahead.
I would just say, one of my conditions would be the 6 months maintenance of the, I forgot the word again. Baffle,
Or-
thank you. Keep calling it berm.
Is it
The
only
baffle?
one baffle? Yeah.
Yes, it's only one
Oh,
baffle.
okay.
It's only one baffle to handle that, right? One exit pipe?
Was that the exit of the? system?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
all of the structures have baffles on them.
Every underground
Oh,
container?
all the
Every
Use
catch
one
basin.
catch basins. Oh, okay.
Everything that has a pipe going to and from. So
Okay.
there are multiple catch basins and things like that.
So it's on the exit of the catch basin, not the.
Going into the galleries?
So, so the easiest way to describe it is most of the catch basins are directly on top of the galleries, and then they have a sump underneath. Now there are some interconnections between the galleys. So, at least based upon this detail, provided to you, hold on, I just want to make sure I'm. Oh, no, that I disregard. It is only on the outlet pipe before it leaves.
So
Yeah.
there's only one of
Only the
those.
outlet pipe. I apologize. Yep.
So can we do it where every 6 months? Is that realistic, James? Every 6 months to clean those?
Yeah, so
Or is that over?
just so everyone can see, this is their maintenance schedule that they proposed. Sorry. So for the catch basin, jar drain inlets, everything else, twice a year. Every
Okay,
6 months. Sewer inlets and outlets for storm sewer. Again, this was twice a year, inspected twice a year. Galleries, same thing, twice a year. And then they're doing sweeping twice a year as well. So it is every 6 months is what they have on the plans. So yeah, you can request the reports.
yeah, I would make a condition report every 6 months for 2 years.
So a biannual report.
Submitted to the
And what months do you want those reports given?
I would say when it's done, I mean, because
They're gonna happen at different times. Because you're gonna have your sweeping is gonna happen separately from your cleaning. And
That's true.
your sweeping has to happen in your spring and your fall after the leaves. So you don't know every year when your leaves are.
I would say
gonna fall,
within a
so-
5 month separation. I don't want to tie them down so much that if you have a bad winter, you want to do it early, later,
No, but to my point, you don't want to be getting a report in
January and
January
February.
and not January, February, January and July.
Okay.
You want, yeah, so I think it's worth asking when those maintenance or when James believes those maintenance activities would occur, the time frame that would be most reasonable for those to occur, and then when that happens,
Hey, James, your expertise again. When do you think we need to get those reports?
Typically spring and fall.
There you go, spring and fall.
so is there a month that they would be tied down to with that, or months, just spring and fall?
Yeah, I don't know if I would necessarily tie them down to specific months. I would just say spring and fall.
how about, let me rephrase the question. How about a deadline to receive the report? So like by June 21st and by December 21st.
Something along those lines, yeah. I mean, you know, the maintenance should be done during the spring and fall. Therefore, the report should come within a reasonable amount of time after that. It shouldn't be much. It's typically, yes, it was inspected, yes.
Just put spring and fall then?
Okay.
But you're right on with that, because they're gonna do it after the late winter, like now,
Well,
April,
So
May.
typically with my company, we have, of course, we have it swept, you know, the parking lot swept. But you have to wait until the last time you sand.
Right,
You don't know when that's gonna be.
right, that's why I don't wanna hold them down.
Late spring or spring.
It's reasonable to say that we're gonna do it by the beginning. of May.
Right,
But there's always that freak storm.
let
that
me,
You can't hold them to a
Let me-
specific date.
let me refine my condition, how I'm phrasing it. You're not trying to regulate when the activities takes place so much as you're trying to get a deadline from when you receive the report.
That's fair.
So if that activity is occurring in March or April, and you don't get that until July,
Good.
You can ask for June 1st.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Right.
June and
Or
December.
December
Yeah,
1st.
That's late
Oh,
fall.
why not? June and December.
Yeah, after all the
First.
leaves are down.
There we go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
that's fine.
should be received
Let's separate people.
Well, why?
by June 30th
And
and
December,
December 30th.
yes, perfect.
How's that?
That works for me.
Fine, buddy. It's
That's the
reasonable.
only, because I think everything else is on the plan.
Same. The other things that
Condition,
we want on board plans.
can I propose one more?
Of
That
course.
Yeah.
We discussed in another meeting, was the low minimal salt content for the roadways.
I think that's a very reasonable condition.
I would say no, 0, but because I don't want to see any salt introduced to me. I would not want to. Unless they have to for some legal liability reason for the sidewalks or walking areas. or something.
That's why.
Right,
I'm-
so that they are, I would imagine there would be some pushback in the health and safety
Yeah,
realm.
whatever the legal minimum requirement.
I would say,
Am I allowed to say anything? Am I allowed to ask a question?
Really?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm very sorry.
I will honor the rules.
Can I unseat myself and seat her?
Killing me, I can follow the rules.
No, then you can't vote.
you can vote.
That's
No,
probably good.
no, I don't want to get into that whole legal.
No.
You have 5 full members.
Can they do just salt the sidewalks and not the parking lot? There you go.
Maybe you're probably also going to get some pushback on that, to be honest with you.
Because if there's an ice storm,
Because there are parking spaces on the other side of the parking lot where pedestrians will have to walk across. So it's
You're
not.
right.
And the only thing that I would say to completely eliminating it is the town does use salt. Granted, I will say that we are among the lowest using municipalities in the state. So, doing something, that
The
mirrors
town-
our own application would probably also be reasonable.
Mm.
But then it goes to the enforcement.
so the way to,
Why not just sand? Sand will get caught in the catch basins and cleaned out. The dissolved solids, or sorry,
but
suspended
to
solids
James'
like
point,
that.
that's like telling the town, why don't you just use sand instead of the
Then we're
chemical.
contradicting ourselves.
Well, I think that would be the right thing to do for the town. We're not here to
Okay,
debate
yeah.
that now. are we? We have to.
We can't regulate the town. It's, only this, so.
And by saying no
We
salt,
probably
does
can
that
make
also open
recommendations.
the conversation where you can always do that gray area of stuff that's not salt? You know what I mean?
I know, I'm
In
very sorry.
Colorado, they don't, they don't salt. They know how critical their rivery
How
ecosystems
about
are
they
for
can
the
use
trout.
a
They don't use
form
salt.
of the icer that is non-salt based? How's that?
I don't know if calcium carbonate is any better for the
Cal-
environment.
calcium
I am not a
chloride,
chemical.
calcium
All
chloride
you
and
need is
salt.
all you need is sand and a good plowing regime to keep grip on the surface.
If
No.
that, it's a good point that James raises. It would be imposing a double standard if we did not allow the applicant to use salt. Yeah.
And I believe the way the system is built, that salt is supposed to infiltrate into the ground and it's not gonna come up and go into the wetlands. And by the time, I think James McManus had explained that by the time any of that salt that had infiltrated down into the ground would make its way over to any of the wetlands, it would be none, basically.
He said something like
He
that.
did- he
It
did
clings
bring
to
it up.
something or something. I
Because
don't remember.
The seed, they use the soil as a filtration system. So,
Can we somehow put on a limited like 2-year monitoring program to test the outflow at the pipe? From, or by the time it gets to the wetlands?
Well, what are you looking for?
Total suspended solids going into the Still River.
So I know that came up in discussion. The question is,
To actually know.
yeah, but let's just say now they tested in 2 years and it's low high or whatever. Do they rip everything apart, the parking lot and everything and redesign? That's what I think.
Oh, where do our regulatory teeth come in? I mean, I
That-
don't know.
I'm
It's up
not-
to
I'm not
Dave.
saying
That's
no,
up to the state
I'm
and to
alright.
Dave. I don't know, like,
So
But it just at least
the applicant has an obligation to have 80% of the total suspended solids that this development would create be removed as part of the stormwater management system design.
Mhm.
I would imagine if the system wasn't doing its job, you guys would catch that in the reports that you would receive biannually for 2 years. You're getting 4 reports where if something gets brought to the engineer's attention, because they're gonna have to be the ones to go out and inspect it. They'll let you know that, hey, this isn't doing what I said it would do. I need to repair this or alter it or whatever. And let me know if I'm speaking out of turn, James. And this is how I'm gonna do it. They are obligated to let you know how it's not functioning.
So that report isn't that they cleaned it out, it's also showing that it's operating as designed.
Yeah.
You could,
More or less. The report that we were talking about earlier was just the maintenance report. Basically saying, yes, I went in, I cleaned this catch basin. Yes, I went in, I picked up the debris at the outlet control structure to prevent it from building up. That was that first report that you're talking about. This one is something completely different. This is actually more of a water quality test that would require sampling sent to a lab, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between suspended solids and things like salts diluted in the water.
Dissolved solids.
Dissolved solids, thank you.
Right. That's the difference that I'm talking about. We know that they've covered their ground as far as the suspended solids, the 80% sedimentation removal rate for things heavier than water. He also addressed the oil. Hopefully that's going to be good enough with the baffle system. Good. So now
Okay.
all that's left is the dissolved solids that is as yet undressed.
You want to put a stipulation, I'm okay with it,
I mean, the commission has to have a consensus for it.
I'm okay, if you want to put it on there, I think it'll cause a whole discussion, let's say 2 years, something comes up, but that could be a discussion that never happens, so.
I don't think we should shy away from any of those discussions.
I'm okay.
I mean, you guys you're opening yourself up to a double standard is the point that I would raise.
How's that a
Yeah.
double standard?
Well,
If the
if
town's using it.
if the town is using salts,
Oh, no, I wasn't looking at it as containment to Saul, I was looking at it as other. I mean, if they cut back and it's because of the salt, I don't think there's anything we could do, because then you can't. Because all the applicant has to do is be like, well, it's cleaner than the town's, or that's what the town does. You know, again, you get in a double standard that you can't.
so
I'm not sure where our legal jeopardy lies in that. Oh, and if that's the case, then maybe we have to make some recommendations to the town, but not here.
right, well, so the town they have a stormwater permit they have to comply with that they're granted by the state. I think it's MS4 is what it's called. And they have to submit stuff to the state that demonstrates that they're in compliance with that program.
Can we go into this later, with you, James, at some point?
Yeah, we can always revisit this at any point. But I would just like to point out for something like this, like let's say you were to test for chlorides or salts in the water and it comes back high. At that point, the commission wouldn't necessarily or the municipality wouldn't necessarily come back and say you need to rip everything out. It's, hey, how much are you applying? Let's look at that first. Okay, let's try reducing it this year. Let's do another test and try to keep bringing it down. It's not like a whole system's going to be reworked because no system has been designed for the dissolved solids.
Yeah, it's mostly a knowledge, like a effort to help the wetlands, really, that's it.
Okay,
In my,
So what are you looking for?
to be
James, what am I
tested.
looking for?
Sorry,
What are you
James.
looking for?
So what you're looking for is
Lab test of the water,
water sampling.
twice a year.
I don't know if it's worth going twice a year. If your main concern is salts, then you really want to be looking at the end of the salting season.
It's not only salts.
I mean, aside from that, you're looking at fertilizers and other types of things.
Yes, indeed.
So
Best time, because that's when all that application occurs usually.
yeah,
So-
so it's up to you. I mean, if you're looking for salts, you're going to want to do it at the end of the winter season. If you're looking for fertilizers, you're probably going to be looking at that near spring anyway, because that's when people are going to use fertilizer. So it's really up to you.
May, okay, sure.
I would say May,
May, what?
end of May, by end of May. Because you never know, what if you have the lakes?
Can I comment on the, can I
If we ever
intervene?
say no.
No. I'm gonna intervene real quick, just because the fertilizers are a different animal. I think the way to address that is to say the applicant shall not use fertilizers that are not of earthen material.
Yes.
And when you use that word or words, earthen material, you're eliminating the chemical fertilizers, in my opinion.
We've done that before.
And that is
I don't know if
a,
they actually do it, but
that is a condition you guys have asked for before. I don't see
Yes.
why it would not be
Yeah,
unreasonable to ask. in
I
this
would-
case.
that might be important because most of the green space that's there to the east or north of the building, I guess, is lawn, like, but it's also technically wetlands. I believe it's within the actual.
No,
no,
Isn't part of
the
the-
upland review, the wetlands was right along the border.
Oh, it's flag. Oh, okay.
No, but it doesn't hurt to put that down for the fertilizer.
Okay. I was thinking the sidewalk and for some reason.
I
it
mean,
seemed like-
anything that's beyond that earthen berm for the stormwater management system, they're not touching.
Right.
That all gets
The
left alone.
floodplain.
But it's all lawn. They're gonna have to make.
They're not gonna touch it,
It's all mobile. It's all mobile.
but they're not gonna touch it. So,
You know what, just put it on there anyway, so wherever they.
no. I think it's worth showing. So let me go to the site plans here. So it's a good
Right,
point.
right, right. It's in it's in the floodplain, but it's not in the, I see,
Oh,
not in the west. right?
So let me go to the sheets. Okay, so everybody sees the cursor on my screen? Let me zoom in here a little bit more. All right, so the wetlands are here. This is the line for the wetlands, right?
Yes,
So you saw the stakes out here, you
Yep.
saw where that area was. This is the berm for the stormwater management system right here. So anything to the east of that berm, they're not touching.
That's not gonna be lawn, that's gonna be natural habitat.
oh, they're gonna let it.
That's gonna be left alone. Because they're not gonna be able to go around with anything past all of this stuff here.
Right.
I mean, you have
Oh, I
you
see, I'm
have
sorry.
the
yeah.
riprap, you have the sediment trap.
Yep.
You have the berm itself. I mean, all of this is,
Yeah,
It's
but
all
to the
lawn now,
left
but
of
it
that,
can
it's
be-
all lawn. Right where your cursor was.
Right. Yeah,
That,
that's all gonna be grass.
that's
for
all
sure.
grass right
Right.
there.
right, so for this area,
That's what I'm talking. Put the-
Okay.
and that's what
And
we're
this.
talking about. Yeah, that's what I'm
Okay.
talking about.
In this
Okay.
area.
Yeah,
understood,
that's fine. Yeah,
so,
so you got 3 conditions.
so let
So you
me,
never know what they're gonna do in the future too down there. What if they plant a couple little trees or they make it a little, like they kind
hang
of.
on,
make a little
hang on,
for that.
hang on, let's slow down a second, I gotta make sure I'm caught up with.
I'm sorry, no, I'm not
No, no,
going
no,
anywhere.
It's okay.
You do your,
So,
what I'm saying is
so-
useless. to the conversation.
So
No, it's not.
fertilizers,
Kevin, anything in the future still has to come.
fertilizers
back
shall be
before
limited to
come in.
earthen materials,
Or is supposed to.
right? Is that what you're looking for? Fertilizers limited to earthen materials?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Good. I'm just gonna, if I may use my phone to look up a pertinent thing.
I would
for the-
recommend you
a
not,
picture.
unless,
It's a photograph to show you guys.
was it,
But
was it,
it's
It
sub-
wasn't submitted already.
Was
We
in the
can't
record?
You can't go in the
submit
record.
any new material right
It's no, it's it has to do with a possible condition.
You can't, if it's
No.
information being brought in, you can't do it.
now. Legally.
It's more
If
information.
it's
you
new
can't do it.
information.
No, it's not information. It's just like a picture of one of those placards.
It's information.
It's-
It's information.
It's information. You
Oh,
can't.
okay.
Sorry.
No, it's not. It was just to help you guys see. what
No,
it
it's,
is.
yeah, but it's a
Speaking
legal
of
thing.
placards, can we put placards?
sure,
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
all.
but before we get there,
Yeah.
We had
So-
asked
so
them
I
and
have-
they had already agreed.
so I have three conditions. The biannual report.
Yeah.
Fertilizers limited to earthen materials, and then you want water sampling,
Once a year, water sampling,
once a year,
I believe it was.
and when do you
in
want that
May.
report?
May.
So by the end of May, by
To be
that's-
received by
May 31st.
May 31st.
And apologies for the question, but within that stipulation, what kind of the information that's provided to us, we're asking it to fall within a realm of pre-existing allowances, I'm assuming for particular, like what we find there. What kind of action can we take on it based on what, that's
what
kind
I'm
of what
saying,
I'm
we'll have
asking,
to
is like,
cross
what
that
kind
road.
of platform of action do we have based on what
Well,
kind of criteria?
What James was saying is we can
That's what I don't know about.
monitor how much salt, we could kind of like, can you put less salt, that sort of stuff.
Based on what?
And you may
What
want
salt?
to include a test prior to any activities being taken place. So you
Okay.
have a baseline.
Well,
So a
baseline.
standardized baseline is what we're gonna do the comparative against and not,
Yep.
alright, that makes sense.
And Dave, I know we're saying submit the report by May, should it be take the sample in May?
Well, you can add that to the condition. When do you
I
want the
would say
test done?
take, because you could take it. and
That's
send
when you want
whenever.
it, cause yeah, if you're gonna have
Sample
fertilizer
taken in
down
May. I
or
don't
the
care
salt's gonna flush out right
Yeah.
around that time in totality, like from melted snow.
Yeah,
The month
sample
of-
taken
in the
in
month
May.
of, we have an astronomically hot April right now, don't get me wrong, but.
So when do we want the test done?
May,
May.
and
Just-
submit the
just-
report after the test.
Sunset on tests.
Is, wait,
end
April,
date.
3 days, that's right, April, June, November. So this may have 31 days.
Yes.
31 days.
Okay,
Remember.
Good. First.
Remember Memorial Day, that was.
Okay. So you're saying from May 30th, so from May 1st to May 30th is the window for them to conduct this test?
Yes, there you go.
You get the report on May 31st.
Submit the report in May to sample it, however you want to word it, I'm good.
And no, it's not up to me, it's up to you.
I know, we're gonna vote on it, so.
Sample to be done sometime in May, received prior to May 31st.
I agree with that.
Very good, I like that, Greg, I like
There you go.
Do you want to stipulate what is being tested?
Genius.
I know,
Sir,
I'm sorry, and for how long this testing is going to take place?
I mean, if it's annual. The first 2 years are gonna tell us the baseline, what are you gonna say, forever?
I
I
say
would do
2
for the
years
same
because
2 years.
afterwards.
I do the
Hang
same
on,
2
man.
years that we're doing, that we're requesting maintenance, so we stick with the same timeline, it's at least reasonable.
Okay. So water sampling once a year between May 1st to May 30th for 2 years. You get that report prior to May 31st.
Yes,
And what does the water sampling report entail?
As long as you say.
I've never seen one, so I could not tell you.
What would
James.
what would a water sampling report
I've seen
entail,
it once.
James?
I trust them.
It would be what you're concerned with. You know what I mean? If you're concerned with
Levels of-
fertilizer, salts, things like that. It's just specific concerns, total suspended solids if you wanted to. You can include all of that. It just comes down to what your concerns is because, I fear by just leaving it open-ended, you're not being detailed enough.
Correct.
Will definitely be salts.
salts.
So you would get that with your
Oils?
I
dissolved
was about to say
solids.
oil or oil particulates.
You would get that with your dissolved solids, so that would be
Yeah.
salts. And then suspended solids would be oils,
What about phosphates?
phosphate.
That's actually a good question too. because if we're-
Phosphorus.
Yeah, look at it.
Is
Phosphates.
phosphorus insoluble or insoluble in water, Japes? You are muted.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. You and I can clarify that one after. If we know that they want phosphates tested, that's should be fine.
I think that it is soluble.
I believe it is soluble, you're right.
I'm pretty positive.
Jim
but I haven't
McManus went over
like heard
something
first to say.
about the phosphates at one point.
Yeah, he mentioned.
I am not a chemical person. I do not.
I'm pretty confident phosphates soluble in water.
Well, meaning dissolved in water. I
Yes,
can't say it,
yes.
Thank you.
I'm
Dave,
positive.
can you do some research and see if they're detectable? If so, then add it. If not, then don't need to add it. Because if it shows up, it'll scare the hell out of us. Check for chlorine while we're at it.
Slash. Okay, so that's 3 conditions.
Okay,
Moving on, you got any more?
Can we put,
Placards? Did we say?
Placards,
Yeah,
yes, thank you.
what I was gonna show you guys was this thing I saw in Easton that they do on their stormwater catch basins, their culverts at the road, like on everyone in the watershed of the reservoirs there. And that's because it's a public water supply. Granted, they do have like drinking water reservoirs that they're taking care of.
what does the
But they,
plaque say?
so that's what I wanted to see. Can I look at the picture I took on my phone?
No,
Yeah.
you can't enter new information into once a public hearing is
Even if it's
closed.
a photo.
Nico, I will say that David and I had a pretty detailed conversation about these placards.
Yes,
Did you, I sent them to you, right?
I don't even know if you sent them to me. It actually came up in another conversation between David and myself.
I just can't remember exactly what they say, but it's like sensitive environment, sensitive watershed or something.
Yeah, you can have them say whatever, direction to stream, direction to brook, watershed area, things of that nature. I will say that I know from a municipality standpoint, my concern was maintenance of these and or putting them back. Snow plows are going to rip them up. How long are they going to last? How are they engraved? Is it going to be a placard that's bolted on? Where is it bolted on? I had a lot of concerns, and it's something that we can definitely discuss in more detail and hash out. But it's one of those things that really needs to be thought out.
Yeah. It was glad it was easy and simple and small. It reminded me a lot of the placards that we've been recommending and implementing for certain
Yeah.
projects now, which are what do those say? Bethel.
Town of Bethel environmentally sensitive area.
Okay, so maybe
So
that's
Nico,
ours, and then they were engraved, they were somehow put into the concrete. I don't know how they did it either, but we can look. I'll go look.
Food for thought
Right.
for a future commission comment.
Nico, can you bring that information? I don't know, it has to be in the
Yeah.
agenda. Can you bring that information, not for this application, but for future app, so we know? So can you bring that information with you to the next meeting?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Um,
What town is it? Easton?
That's easy. It's just an example of like what, it's like public, what is it? Like a public service announcement.
Yeah, no.
You
that's
see
fine.
it and you're like, oh, something that you wouldn't normally
I
think
just,
about. And it's like, oh, this leads to a sensitive
and
waterway.
I'm fine with that. Just to Jim's point is it looks beautiful for the first week or first season. After that, they
It
rip
becomes
off the
little.
cracked and their bolts sticking up or this, so I would want to see more on how.
Yeah, me too. These ones seem like they would been put in a long time ago and they're going.
No, it's possible. Oh,
Metal.
so
definitely
yeah,
metal.
if you could bring that for the next meeting, we could take a look for.
I'll just go take one off the Easton ones. I'm just kidding.
If you could video how you do it, so you
Yeah,
just don't show your face while you do it, okay?
But I would like us to do something like that because we are so close to the impaired.
Okay.
Still, or the some public in this case, but.
Good point. Any other conditions?
The placards.
We lose Laura?
No, Laura should be still there. She's muted. Laura, are you still with us?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, just making sure.
So,
wasn't
so
sure.
let's go back to the placard discussion real quick. So how many do we want, or how far apart do you want them spaced?
I don't like the idea of like giving an exact amount, but
No,
like
neither do
a
I.
reasonable amount that's on pre-existing,
Trees.
yeah. Just so that they're noticeable, because there were a couple of pre-existing,
Right.
Well,
like swamp maples right there that you put a couple placards on.
well,
like,
do you want these placards to go along the limit of disturbance, or do you want them to go to be inset into the existing?
I would
canopy?
put them on the trees. I actually like it before, but I don't want to see them on posts.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't like posts, it's just a habit.
But they're so far, the tree line is so far, nobody's ever, well, people, maybe kids playing down here might see it.
Right.
It's like a-
And any kids playing per se, if they go past this, they're definitely gonna be going into the
Yeah,
wetlands.
they're
And
no.
I doubt that anybody's going to be going past this, so I think that on the tree line is fine.
Three placards, spaced in relative
Yeah.
equal distances.
Give me a number.
Really?
It's a 3, I thought.
Yeah, three.
No,
equal-
I know, but so evenly spaced.
At minimum of 20 feet,
There you go.
It's 134, oh no,
so at minimum of
Spaced.
20 feet.
At least 20 feet apart.
I think if the contractor can build a house, he could figure out where to put the placards.
Yeah, that one might be 40 and one might be 20, as far as I'm concerned, just because of where like
Yeah.
the tree line was.
I don't-
remember how-
I
the
don't
contractors, aren't the contractors, are they just not laughing at us? They're just like throwing these placards?
No,
no,
Like,
they're
it's-
there.
it's-
They're there.
Nico,
Okay.
when I go out to do a zoning compliance inspection, if they're not there, they're not getting a zoning compliance certificate.
Sure.
Dave's on it.
I am.
Placards and orange fencing.
I am. They know where they have to get them, i.e. me, and I make sure they get the right amount, and I make sure that they're on the trees or posts or whatever you guys want them. So when I go out there, if I don't see three of them spaced at least 20 feet apart, guess what?
Hey,
Got hope.
not to continually throw wrenches in all of your discussions here. I believe all those trees are not on this property.
Well,
Really, James?
I'm sorry.
Well, then no placards.
No play, yeah.
I'm
Because
not,
it is-
I'm
it
not
is very-
forward to putting it on a.
okay.
can't fall
Yeah,
asleep.
especially because it's one of those instances where it's very, very obviously a wetland, it's a
Right,
very
no,
proper grown wetland, so you
right,
know
no,
you're
I
going
would
into,
never-
you're going into like this swamp,
Okay.
marsh area.
Okay.
I don't
Fair
know,
enough.
it's probably too late to bring this up, but there's an old mature it's a black locust tree. It's on the fence along the property line, just to the right of the corner fence property where Alessandra Gonzalo lives. It's to the right of the driveway as you're driving in.
Is it within the upland review area?
I think so, but it's right close by and I'm not sure exactly.
So
And
what's
I
the
would ask
question
that
about
if it is within the upland review area, that they leave it. But it's maybe
And what would warrant that condition?
the fact that it's within the upland review area and it's
Would its removal adversely impact the wetlands?
yes.
How?
I'll write
You
it.
can't ask him to leave
For
it
you.
because we like it. That's the whole thing Dave's getting to.
I'm sorry.
Out of our purview, you're saying? Even if it's in the not upland. review.
I would leave that kind of condition to the planning and zoning commission.
Ah, there you go.
If it was close to the water body and you were concerned that there would be adverse impacts in the way of erosion because that root system is compromised because the tree has been removed, absolutely. But if that tree is not,
I haven't had a chance to study
if
it.
that tree isn't close enough to the water course, you're not really on sufficient ground.
No, I think it
to warrant
says
that.
very clearly in our regulations that if trees within the regulated upland review area are within our jurisdiction to keep or to request to stay. I believe that is in our regulations, but just.
I'd like to look at where that is.
Sorry.
No, I would like to look at where
I
that
think
is.
it's unless it adversely
I'm pretty sure
affects.
it's in there.
We don't know if it have any effect on.
And we don't know exactly, it's close to it, it's just, I don't know if the. You guys aren't planning on keeping it, right? Do you even know what
Can't
you're
ask.
talking about?
I'm not sure.
She
what
can't
they-
No, you guys,
Nothing.
no, you cannot have any,
Even though you want to, but you can't.
Yeah.
Can't have any dialogue at this point.
It's to the right of this, it's on the other
Discussions
side of
amongst
the building.
yourselves.
Nico, is it this?
Not that true. No, it's the one up in the parking area a little bit further up, actually, James,
No,
to
that's out
to
of
the
the-
other side.
Okay, yeah, we don't have a picture of it on here, so.
I took a picture of it. Oh,
No,
I didn't submit that to you?
If it-
My pictures from that day?
it might be in the Google Drive, or otherwise it might be on the phone that you lost.
The phone lost. Thanks for reminding me. Which I recovered, by the way. I
Okay,
recovered
okay,
all the slopes.
good.
That was rough.
Dave takes digs at me, it's fine.
are we still talking about the tree?
Yes, and,
Okay.
and to put a coffin in that conversation, not, or to put a nail in the coffin on that conversation, so to speak.
You're just gonna say it's outside the upper limit.
No, I'm looking at the regulations right now. There is no section or reference to your authority to protect trees from being removed.
Cannot people.
You just read through the entire, all of the.
Big memory.
Control F is a wonderful thing.
I will also
I needed that.
bring this up on our next meeting.
Okay. Is there any more conditions? You're gonna have to show me how to do that because that would come in handy.
Control F.
What does it do?
It is the
Defines
find
it.
function.
Find a word.
You take it
I don't know, I'm doing the 98. I've never used it before.
Are you serious?
My wife
Have you
uses
never
it
used
to prove
Excel?
me wrong.
I use Excel all the time.
Control F's one of the first things you learn how to use in Excel.
Oh,
I say that out of love. I'm in Excel every minute, every day.
I hear you.
I
use that
digress.
spreadsheet something.
Well played, sir.
Every now and then.
Roll.
I like numbers, they don't argue with me.
Or go up or down.
Any other conditions or discussion at this point, Mr. Chair?
I have nothing. further.
I do not have any, I'm sorry, do you have any more?
Truth.
Okay,
So at this point, we have.
we'll take
three
it down to
conditions.
consent.
We have three conditions
three
and,
conditions.
and you guys are at the point
Okay.
to come to a consensus.
So, Laura, what is your general consensus? Are you leaning toward, is that the word, we're leaning towards approval or denial of this application?
Approval.
Okay, Greg,
Approving conditions.
myself, approval conditions, good way to put it. Nico?
My considerations for decision, three. The applicant met 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And they didn't discuss feasible or proven alternatives, so now I'm.
Okay.
No.
No,
So that would be denial.
denial, you would be looking for a denial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Watershed, I can write up a formal response to that.
I'm gonna go with approval on the,
Okay.
for with conditions.
So the general consensus of the board is if you can draft a letter of approval for this application for us to review at the next meeting, which
said
would be Monday.
conditions.
With the
With the
conditions that you
conditions as we
request.
propose. Yes,
Very good.
okay,
That will be done.
now. Just so everyone's aware, when that draft comes up, that doesn't mean there's no discussion on, we'll have discussion again, if there's, in the next week or so, you think of something else that you feel necessary, you can put on there.
Agree to those conditions as well, so
Once the, yes,
they may say no.
and then,
Well, so
Then
how
it's-
the applicant would do that is they would appeal your approval.
right, so. Okay. So we're good on that now, okay? So that's it for 17 Whitney Road for tonight.
At this time.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is everyone good to continue?
Plan.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Tom Patty's Lane West. Construction of a single family dwelling and associated site improvements. Well, we were at the same thing, talking about the,
So you had asked me to draft a resolution of approval for this application.
yes,
I have it on Word document. I have almost everything done except the exhibits, which most of them are pretty straightforward. I don't think it's that substantial that I don't have them that they pertain to this application. So what we're gonna do, if you guys can flash back to the Star Wars scroll. You guys remember
Got
that,
it.
because Laura's on Zoom. And the public needs to be aware of what you guys are looking at, so I will put that up. You guys can read it slowly, and then if there's any.
Before you
comments-
do I have to seat or unseat anybody?
I would just have Laura reiterate, since she was not at the meeting, that she reviewed the recording and that she read the minutes.
Laura, were you able to review the recordings and the minutes for on Patty's Lane West from the last meeting?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank
Very
you.
good.
Okay,
So
right,
let me put
let's
that
do
up
the
on the
scroll.
screen. So this is, oh geez, there we go. This is the draft resolution of approval for 4 Patty's Lane West. Is the speed good? You want, here, let me zoom in.
it's all boilerplate so far, so yeah.
Yeah, let me zoom in on a bit more. Zoom,
I mean,
One
good contacts, but they
page.
weren't that good.
page width, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Can everybody read that?
Yep.
Better?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Should have started.
Okay, and the highlighted stuff is the exhibits that will get changed to
Okay.
reflect the application that was before you guys, but it's
Well-
really housekeeping stuff.
Yep.
And then the same will go with the site plan sheets, which are at the top of the second page.
Philly Road, yeah.
Those will get changed to reflect this application. And then the meat of the approval is coming up here in bold. As you guys will see, most of these conditions are boilerplate, pretty straightforward stuff. I don't think I grabbed anything in here from the
I think it's pretty much straightforward, this.
actually, there is one item. Do you guys want the construction fencing, the orange construction fencing?
I believe we did.
We did.
Because there was a species that we were worried about, right?
That's right.
Something has a
Yes.
turtle.
There was a
yeah.
turtle.
Turtle.
That
Oh,
Turtle.
that they,
the state had
This is-
deemed it.
before they start doing any work, that they every day walk the fence line to monitor,
Right,
make sure the
right.
species
I
wasn't. Thank
I
you.
will say that none of the,
It's, yeah, he has to write it up.
right, so,
He's
so,
gonna take these and put it on,
But that's not this project.
right,
He's
gonna use this on
He's
the
gonna use
pretty much a
boilerplate.
template and then.
so I think if there's one point I would make, it would be that I believe there aren't any on-site wetlands on this property. And
Correct.
I'm almost certain that none of the activity that's being proposed would take place within 15 feet of a regulated wetland. So this fence would be essentially out in the woods, not even on this guy's property.
So
It's close, actually. The septic, the reserve septic is right on the line.
isn't
of
there
in the
something, there's a
northwest.
piece of wetlands, are you doing any work near the wetlands? That's what I look at.
Well, I'll pull up the site plans.
Yeah, do you have a second?
Yep, I will pull them.
I noticed the septic is pushed right hard up against
Right
either the wetland or
The upland
No,
review.
I think it's well inside, it's all really inside the upland review area, but it's actually, I think this reserve tank, leaching field is like up against
And,
the wetland
and
proper, yeah.
let me pull them.
Just looking at,
And where's the site plan?
which I am continually wondering
I
how
believe it's
how
this
safe it is for these
one.
septics to be so close to wetlands, but
There we
I'm
go.
researching that.
Go to the sheet right here, share the screen. All right, so your wetlands are right here. There's a pocket here. And
You're not
then,
even close to them.
and then I'll zoom out.
Isn't it
There's
right
another
there?
pocket right here.
No.
So your 100-foot regulated upland review area is this dashed line here.
Right.
So you're 50 feet from the wetlands.
No, this is 100.
100. Yeah, but
Oh,
he's
that's
putting a
100.
septic or something. What's that there?
But
This
it's
right
not
here where my
in-
cursor is,
Yeah,
that's the leaching gallery.
Oh, so
Alright,
that's,
so
The
that's
the
septic
leaching-
tank is right here.
he's at least, yeah.
where's the wetland?
See that little
The-
jog
the-
that just
that little
clicks?
thing,
That's it,
yeah.
right
Yeah.
here.
I
I
got
looked it up.
confused by all these other lines. What's that other dotted line? the hard dot.
This
Oh,
right
I remember
here?
now.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
your limit
yeah,
of
yeah.
disturbance.
That's the limit of disturbance.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
far enough away.
Cool. And then
Yeah.
those
She
like,
goes in
those
there, they really
pillowy,
suck.
cloudy lines.
These lines here,
Floodplain?
those are your contours.
No, and the pillow one below that between.
Tree line.
Right here is your
Yes.
limit of canopy.
Oh, that's a canopy, tree canopy limit.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you for explaining that. So we're 100, we're 70, 80 feet away from a wetland.
If a machine goes
Got it.
in there, they got a really bad machine operator.
For some reason, I just wasn't sure if that was the wetland line. I thought that was the wetland. That's fine.
That's what he's doing.
This is really
But they
helpful.
do have to put up silt fencing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I would just, again, the stipulation that every morning they walk the silt fencing to make sure none of that species got through.
Okay.
Turtle.
It says all of them. Is that part of the
So-
regulations that are not even from us?
I-
Is that
I
part of
don't
the
recall. I
they have
just
like a
remember
series
that
of
discussion.
regulations from the,
As long as it's in there, Dave,
yeah.
I don't care if it's one of our stipulations, one of them, let them take 5 minutes to walk. It'll be fine.
Whatever.
It's in the site plan. That turtle. down there is like-
And
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
fish
and
there.
it's an just outside of.
requirements and
Should say
or,
rest by it.
am I saying that
So it's like
right?
a second-
Yeah, you're the problem. She's the problem. As people collecting mature turtles, that's what it says. It's like,
Control X.
Recommendations.
Oh.
I'm good? Okay,
We're talking about invasive species.
okay. As stipulated.
Hi, Laura.
In the.
Laura's laughing with us too, guys.
Does anyone have any more stipulations
In the natural
things for this?
diversity.
No.
It's pretty cut.
No.
Again, I think it's cut and dry.
It seems totally like a standard residential lot to you guys. right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a standard.
Yeah.
Wish I had the lot.
No,
Connecticut.
Septa is doing it.
You do.
Yeah,
Up
Control
or
contract.
waiting room again,
contractor true.
Connecticut State Apartments. Energy.
Can't filter it in, but yeah.
Environmental protection.
Yep.
How's that? Oh, wait a minute, you can't see it.
Sounded
Surprise.
good when you're saying it. though.
Yeah, let me. Go up again, there we go,
Gotta
good,
be hard.
right there.
Okay. So are we good to? vote on
Well,
this?
let me finish the Star Wars scroll here, because we left off the
Paused
it. Alright, so that's where we left off,
Fast forward button.
and this is all pretty much the same boilerplate stuff, these are your reasons for your decisions here.
Yeah. Oh, I wrote that.
You did.
Oh, I'm pretty good.
Good job.
Okay,
You always get credit, Pat.
there you go. Excuse me.
Alright, any questions?
No.
No, that's fine. No, definitely.
Okay,
No. Any motions? Okay, I'll do it. Make a motion that we approve.
That could've been- sorry, Jay.
No, that's right. Go ahead.
Second.
Because I suck at it.
No,
That's why I
no,
want someone
no,
else to
no,
do
no,
it.
now it's on you, Paul.
I make a motion that we approve the permit for 4 on Patty Flames West with the stipulations as noted and the reasons as shown
on the draft resolution of approval.
on the
and I-
draft of the resolution of approval.
And I think it's worth noting that there are 7 conditions
There are 7 conditions
and 3 reasons.
and 3 reasons for our decisions.
I second. Well said.
Yeah. Okay, let's vote on it. All in favor, signal by saying aye. I think we have to go person by person. Was
Yes, I
that
would go
right?
person by person. It's good to have.
Laura, aye, nay, or
Aye.
aye? Okay, Greg, myself, aye.
Aye.
So we are good, good.
5-0.
Motion 5-0, motion carries. Good for that. I see nothing else on the agenda. Dave, do you have any comments or anything you need to bring up?
I can't have any because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
See how it feels?
She couldn't laugh. We almost adjourned and she had to say something. I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting on April 17th for tonight.
I second.
All those in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, James.